Okay, so your homework assignment was to do 2 through 4. So I'm going to go through these with you. The first thing that we need to do is factor. So if I want to factor this, then what I need to do is decide, okay, is there a greatest common factor? Do I factor by grouping? How should I do this? So these all have an x squared or greater in them, so I'm going to take an x squared out in front. Alright, so what I'm left with now is something that I can factor. So I have to multiply, and it has to multiply to 48, and it has to add to 16. Okay, so things that multiply to 48 that add to 16 would be 12 and 4. So this x squared is going to stay out in front. The 3x squared is going to stay, plus 12x plus 4x plus 16. So then I'm taking my greatest common factors. Well, the thing that divides 3x squared and 12x is going to be 3x. Left from that would be x plus 4. The greatest common factor of this is a positive 4, and I get x plus 4 left. Okay, so then my roots that I'm setting equal to 0 are going to be x squared equals 0, 3x plus 4 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. So then my answer to this is going to be 0 twice because it's x squared. So it's happening 2 times. Those are 2 of my 4 roots. Then negative 4/3, and then negative 4. So when I'm making my graph, I kind of want to look at my denominator of the biggest one. And the denominator of the biggest one is negative 4/3. So I'm going to make every 3 be a 1. Because my denominator is a 3. And that's just generally kind of how I base my graphs. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So same thing going up and down. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and graph these roots. If I want a 0, I only have to put there 1 time. Negative 4/3. Well, everything's a third. So I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3 is right here. And then negative 4 goes off my graph. So 1, 2, 3. We'll just put it off of our graph a little bit. Okay, so because this is to the 4th, what I know is my end behavior is going to be the same. And because it is a positive 3x squared, it's going to start positive, it's going to end positive. So it's going to look something like this. So now I have to figure out what I do in the middle. Okay, so my maximum is going to be, it could be between either of them. So I would look on Desmos for this and see. But our maximum is going to be between negative 4/3 and 0. So the maximum value is going to be between negative 4/3 and 0. So again, that's something you can look on Desmos and see what that's going to be. So what I want to do then is take negative 4/3 plus 0 and divide it by 2 because I'm trying to find the midpoint of this. Okay, so when I do that, not negative plus 0, yeah, plus 0. So when I do that and I do negative 4/3 plus 0 divided by 2, I get negative 2/3. Okay, so negative 2/3 is what I'm plugging into the equation. That's my x value. So I'm plugging negative 2/3 into my Desmos table, and what that's going to give you back is positive 2.96. Okay, so then you're going to graph that. You're going to go negative 2/3. 1/3, 2/3, so negative 2/3 is right here along this line, and I'm going to go up to 2.96. Well, 1 is right there, 2 is right there, so 2.96 is about right there. So I'll erase those other dots that I made. So I know that that's where it has to go up at, is from here to here. That's my maximum. My minimum then is going to be between negative 4 and negative 4/3. Okay, so I'm finding the midpoint of that. Negative 4 plus negative 4/3 divided by 2. So when you do that, you get negative 8/3. You can use a calculator for that. You can use mental math, whatever you want to do. So my x value that I'm plugging into my Desmos is negative 8/3. What that's going to give me back in my table is a y value of about negative 37. So clearly that's going to go off your graph. So just go ahead down here and just put a negative 37, and you know that it's going to hit like that. Okay, so this is what your first graph is going to look like.